All right, it's about that time. Welcome to Just Incredible's Liftoff Show. I'm about to take a deep dive with a good friend of mine. Vic Mensa's here.
Yes, sir, my brother.
Good to see you.
Yo, thank you for having me,
Welcome back to the show.
Always.
So much to talk about, man. We just finished an amazing freestyle. Every time you drop through with the bars.
That's important to me, man.
I feel like you elevate every time, man.
Got to.
You take this sport so seriously.
I love it, man. You know what I'm saying? I was telling you earlier, the homie told me he was like, open runs are the purest form of basketball. And we were talking about hip-hop, though. You know what I'm saying? And the freestyle part of the sport, man, something I just grew up studying and loving so much.
Yeah,
like,
man.
A lot of my favorite verses were never on a song.
Right?
They was on the radio.
Right, yeah. That's
you know
what's
what
up,
I mean?
man.
Straight up.
Thank you for helping me keep it alive like that, man.
I appreciate you, man, for elevating this part of the sport and bringing a spotlight back to it. I feel like you've, brought a resurgence of this necessary part of the game just through hard work, dedication, persistence, consistency, and it's borne fruit.
Thank you. Thank you, man. Yeah, it's an honor and a privilege, bro, for real, man, to sit courtside with you like that and watch you get busy. What made you pick those two beats specifically?
Man, that What It Feel Like, that's that triumph, And my album, Victor, is all about redemption and triumph through adversity. So I think those types of chords, it brings something. Yeah. And that's why Nip would rhyme on it, why Hov would rhyme on it. That's produced by my guys too, 1500 and Nothing.
1500 and Nothing, yeah.
Shout out to those brothers, man. They didn't know where the instrumental was. I had to make an instrumental. Shout out to Loran, shout out to Kyrie.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Amazing musicians.
Man, the best, man. For real, they go crazy every time.
Yo, honestly, So Long, some of the best for so long.
Yeah, consistent.
The live music. I did a lot of my last album with them in Inglewood.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I did.
The Hooligans Project? Or
No, the autobiography.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I did a bunch of that with them in Inglewood.
Man.
And you know what I mean? Just like they got a whole family environment, man. It's just like brilliant musicianship.
Love that. And this is the second time you touched down on the Nas beat.
Second time on the Nas beat. That was Nas's like last time.
Yeah.
Get Down. That's the James Brown sample.
Fire. You slid, man. You went crazy.
Something about
them Nas beats, huh?
Something about them Nas beats. I said I'm gonna do Made You Look next, man. We'll see what's up with that.
Yeah, you know it. We got the Victor album out now.
Yes, sir.
Such a personal album, man. Talk to me about that, creating this project. Yeah, man.
Man, I started making this album like 2 years ago, coming out of a bad car crash I got into. And it was just kind of like the impetus for a lot of change in my life and reflective of like a path I was going down, in a literal and a figurative sense.
Right.
And, drunk driving, tweaking, pistol in the car, all type of just things that would not allow me to sit here and like do what I love to do and what I'm blessed.
Man.
Had I had to go do what you have to do when they catch you doing those types of things.
For real, bro.
And man, that shit just hit me hard, just pause.
Yeah, I feel it though.
Hey, yo.
Nah, but we talk. I feel it though. Hey, yo.
Hey, yo.
Nah, but I know what you're saying.
That shifted a lot of shit for me, man. And I embraced sobriety at that time. I started being sober, so that's like 2 years ago. And just in that time, I think I gained a different level of focus. Like that's why in the rhyme I say, my vision is LASIK. I'm laser focused.
Yeah,
what I mean?
I can see it.
So much more purpose, so much more intention, and a process of cutting away all things that are not actively taking me towards my goals.
Which is so important, right? Because there's so many distractions along the way, right? Sometimes it's fun.
Right.
Sometimes it's, could be drama, family issues, all kinds of things, right? But it's so important to just really lock in and anything that's not helping you elevate.
For sure, especially if you have a bigger purpose, I started to really like have certain realizations about fun versus joy. And many of the things that I've done for fun in my life have been a momentary pleasure, but have actively worked against the cultivation of joy in my life. What brings me joy is like, elevation, progression, creating my best work, you know what I mean? Like waking up feeling proud of what I'm doing, feeling inspired.
Right.
What's fun for me is a whole different thing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The things that are fun for me are pretty toxic.
Right,
you know?
right. Just more in the moment. You know what I'm saying? Got the Victor album out right now.
Hey, that's that signed joint. I got those on the site too, man. That's on VicMensa.com. You know, they ain't signed like that, but they signed.
Get that site out again.
I got some signed joints.
Yeah, I know you do. Get that site out again.
Yeah, that VicMensa.com shop. Got them vinyls on there, man.
Beautiful album. Beautiful artwork, man. Shout out to the
Ron Cooper Soros, man, amazing artist, painting out of Chicago. And so I brought him this. The concept was like
this to life.
Yeah, the concept was like the legend of Osiris, Egyptian myth. Osiris was 28 years old when he was lured into his own sarcophagus. And then they ripped his body to pieces and spread his limbs across the globe or something.
Right.
And then he was sewed back together by Isis. That was his wife.
Damn.
And since he had went through that, he couldn't be with the gods in the same way anymore, but he went on to be the god of the afterlife. And I was reading the Egyptian Book of the Dead, and I was like, man, I'm 28 years old. I got to use that. Like, that's too ill, you know?
Yeah, wow.
So even in the album, I have the skit of my big homie who taught me about it over the prison phone.
Yeah, I heard, yeah,
you know
man.
And he's telling me, yeah, you 28 right now, God, you feel me? Everything Osiris went through, you know? And because I liken it to the same type of story, you know what I'm saying? That a lot of the things that I've gone through, maybe being lured into the trappings of the industry, you know what I mean?
For sure.
Just like drinking the Kool-Aid of fame and controversy and beef and, you know, romanticizing the darkness and the things that are not really the reason I came here, you know what I mean?
For sure. You're a light, you know what I'm saying?
I'm a person of light, man.
For real.
You know?
It's easy at times to get caught up in the noise.
To embrace those things, you know what I mean? But ultimately, I knew something was in discord when I'm coming sometimes to sit down with people and they're like, you're really so nice. I thought you were going to come and punch somebody in the face. And I'm like, that's so not, you know what I mean, who I am.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I might still on a nigga, but in the ring,
yeah,
you know?
Yeah. I saw that. Yes, sir.
You know, that was my whole, like, album launch. That shit was ill, too, man. Oh, man, it was so fun. It was like...
How was that experience?
It was crazy, man. You know, I really just started sparring, too. I mean, I've been doing martial arts since I was a kid.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that.
But more recently, I started to focus on boxing, and I had this concept for the album because, you know, I'm trying to represent that it's been a fight to get to this point.
For sure.
To be victorious, there has to be some type of battle, some type of struggle. And so I had this concept. I'm like, damn, what if for my album release, I invite everybody to a fight with me in the ring? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I was like, I'm gonna have to train.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah.
I'm like, I can't barely get through one round, let alone a few of them.
It's a lot of work,
But
bro.
it was ill though, because in music, in the creation of the album, I was pushing myself, pushing my pen, pushing my limits. So even in the rollout, in the release of the album, I found a way to keep pushing myself. And I think that, like, well, that's how you gain strength, is by going against resistance. You can't gain strength without resistance. And every time I got in that ring, it's like there was anxiety, fear, you know, as I'm looking at the clock, 5 seconds, 4 seconds. But when the bell rings, you got to figure it out.
You know,
for the next few minutes. It's like, figure it out, man, you know?
Yeah.
So I got to just train myself to keep facing fear, keep facing anxiety, like go harder, you know?
Man, you did it, bro. You did that. You did that.
Super fun.
I want to jump around here a little bit because you mentioned kind of, you know, how the game could almost take you out of your character at times, you know, the lifestyle and stuff like that. So let's start with Law of Karma off of the project.
Word. Yeah, people like that.
Amazing record, man. You really,
appreciate that, man.
Really dug deep inward on this one. You could really tell you're reflecting on, you know, some of the highs and lows. Talk to me about this song, man.
Man, The Law of Karma, I look at that song as really being like a spine of the album, like a backbone of it. There's a specific, like, 4 to 8 bar stretch where I'm just staring in the mirror and I'm like, Look at me on stage at the March for Our Lives with multiple gun charges involved in homicides. Look at me crusading for violence against women, lying and cheating in every relationship I've been in. Look at me speaking down on a dead man's image when that's the same reason I was beefing with academics. You know, no matter what we got, karma comes back to get us.
Wow.
And man, that was a necessary thing for me to say to myself, you know what I mean? To recognize that in order to be who I say I am, I can't have it both ways. I have to understand how to develop integrity, you know what I mean? And like, I'm Gemini naturally, so I really will be that way. Like, I really will be like, save the world.
One day and the other day, blow this shit up if it get out of control.
Blow the whole shit up. You know what I mean?
I feel it.
But I feel like as a Gemini and just as a human being, oftentimes the process of growth is learning how to not be at the mercy of my nature. You know what I mean? Shaping who it is that I want to be. And I don't want to be that person that is questioned for the credibility because of their contradictions, you know?
Understood, yeah, of course.
We're all of contradictions, but I can make a choice to not be doing the things that land me in them same positions.
True.
You know, we was talking about the academics interview earlier.
Yeah, man.
And, you know, I actually really loved that moment because it was something that gave me so much perspective to realize, yo, that whole iconic moment where I'm like, I slapped the fuck out of you. It was because he was clowning a dead homie of mine in Chicago on his War in Chirac story or YouTube page. And, you know, we was rightfully very mad about that. But then my whole XXX thing was me falling into the same trap. You know, it's like to be real, you can't really have it both ways.
It's crazy.
So the law of karma is just me recognizing that. And it was ill even the scene I was in when I was making it. I had set my studio up in what was then my nonprofit office in Chicago, in the trenches though, you know what I mean? So I'm on 47th Street staring outside, my young guys, TMB and them Touch Money boys, they outside selling crack, you know what I mean, through the window. I'm looking at it while I'm, you know, writing that. I was in a gully mode. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Damn.
I was in a gully mode. Yo, for real. I'm looking.
Yeah.
And just, man, it just inspired me to just be real. And that's Bongo by the way too, man.
You went crazy on the project,
Get
man.
you the right production, you know. Bongo, by the way, he executive produced the album.
I love seeing y'all two hook up and connect on this project.
Yeah, Bongo
man. Like,
is crazy.
Another amazing talent, you know.
Crazy with it.
Where the music just speaks, you know what I'm saying, so clear and loud and soulful.
This a dude that's just like, man, he plays every instrument.
Yeah, man.
Nearly. You know what I'm saying? He can.
No doubt.
Crazy with the drums, his drum patterns and just ill, you know.
Yeah.
And he's Nigerian too.
Okay.
You know, we got the African thing going on.
Yeah. A word that's been very important to me this year specifically is the word grace.
Yeah, word.
What can you say about that word? Because I know you've given yourself a lot.
Yeah.
I watched it in the academics interview. Speak on that word a little bit to you.
Man, grace has been a huge ingredient to me in this whole process of, you know, redemption and rebirth. Has been understanding the value in having grace and how much power there is in that. It could be easy for us to write somebody off, or
it's easy to crash out, bro. It's just easy to just jump out the window.
You know, it's just easy to say that's a bad person.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's more difficult oftentimes to say that's a complex person. I'm going to have grace for them, you know, but something I learned through all of this was like, man, judge not lest you be judged, condemn not lest you be condemned. You know what I mean? There's judgment for all of us, but real. It's not really for me to do, you know? That's a constant, like, demanding job. If I'm going to judge everybody for all of their wrongs, you know, I got to worry about my own joints, you know what I mean?
For real.
Have grace for myself, have grace, you know, for other people, you know what I mean? There's a word that I learned the real definition of in the mosque recently too. That's like a similar principle, and that's forbearance. Patient forgiveness. You know,
patient forgiveness.
Like to have forbearance. Like the prophet, he would have forbearance, with the people, you know what I mean? Somebody might wrong him, might cross him, and his guys would be like, man, we'll go kill him right now. You know?
Yeah.
And he say, nah, man, go break him off with some, go give him some money, man.
Damn,
just
bro.
go, you know what I mean? Have patient forbearance, like really to show people grace, you know?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I love that. On Leveling Up, you talk about, you know, being sober for, I think you say in the song, like it had been a year at
Something
that
like
point.
That. Yeah,
now you say we're at 2, right?
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Congratulations.
Hey, thank you, man.
How do you feel?
I feel focused, man. I feel great, you know.
Wake up in the morning feeling better, like.
For sure. I mean, I wake up so early that I ain't gonna lie. I wake up, I gotta pull myself out of bed. Like, I'm still learning that part. I've never been a morning person, but I shifted my life to be like 5 a.m. working out by 6.
Like that, huh?
Just because it's ill, you know. It's like when I first started doing that. Shout out to my boy Austin at Undefeated Gym. He put me on that, and I'm like, yo, it'll be 8:30. I'm like, yo, I already did
knocked out like
way more than people have done, and they ain't even woke up yet.
For real,
you know.
Real.
It's like that's one of those hacks. It's like
that's a hack for real.
I could get a long day. I could get a lot of work done. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Kobe used to talk about that.
Kobe method. Yeah. Kobe showed us the game plan, how if you want to be great, you know what I mean?
How to really
maximize your time.
For real.
Like Kobe definitely laid that out. I don't know if I'm fully ready to do that. Kobe was like 3 a.m.
to 5 a.m.
First workout,
right.
then go to sleep for 2 hours, get back up, second workout, go to sleep. I'm like, man, right. I don't know about all that.
But just implementing it.
But maximizing your time, you know what I mean? Taking advantage of your time, because, man, this ain't promised, you know?
Man, for real,
this time
bro.
ain't promised at all.
And we living in a beautiful time, too, man. We got to maximize it all, for real, you know? For real. Let's talk about The Weeping Poets, you and Jay Electronica, man.
That's one of my favorite ones.
Bars, man. Great record.
Hey, that's like my favorite verse in there, man. That one, I was doing this thing where I start like bringing my ancestors into the studio with me.
Okay.
Just like kind of visualizing. I mean, I believe in African spiritual systems. Ancestor worship is a huge part of our culture. Mm-hmm. And as I was writing that, man, I was just like kind of like summoning my grandmother and, you know, my Ghanaian ancestors into the space. Mm-hmm. Just like, you know, catching that vibe. And then the person I heard was Jay Elect, you know.
Fuck.
And you know, shout out to Omar. Omar really was the one that pushed that through. He located Jay Elect somewhere in the Mexican Yucatan Peninsula or something.
Found him.
Yo, and and Jay Elect sent me the verse, man, as a voice note on the iPhone.
Wow.
And you know how it tells you the location. And so it just said like a Moctapillion or something. I'm like, I looked that shit up, and it was in a pyramid.
Fuck.
It was a straight pyramid. They say he just set up his studio. His engineer set up a studio like in like a shack in like the pyramid town.
That's nuts, bro.
It's crazy,
that's
right?
Crazy, dude.
That's why that dude is an enigma of hip hop.
Yeah,
I mean, just like one of the most gifted MCs of all time. But like also in the way that he comes at it is something I believe I hold when I come at it too. It's like, man, this is a spiritually transcendent experience. You know what I mean? It's not just rap. This is my medium right now, but I feel like I'm channeling something ancient, something ancestral. Like if this was 1940, I might have been a trumpet player. You know what I mean? And bebop. You know what I mean? Like if this was before that, you know, maybe it'd be a different medium. So that when somebody like Jay Elect is over there channeling the pyramids, you know what I mean? Like,
bro, you understand almost like the responsibility.
Yeah, no, you get it.
Of this music.
Ooh, that's
powerful.
And that's one of the main things I try to get across in this album is like the acknowledgement of how powerful the music is, and
seriously,
and the word. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like there's a reason why every religion worships through song, because those frequencies of melody and harmony, they hold a power in them. You put words and melodies.
Right.
I mean, you can literally shape and craft your reality through that. And the thing is that the music is so often shaping and crafting a reality that we don't actually want, you know?
All the time.
Because it's like most of the conventions and the trends and the cliches that people think make money and do.
It does, and you know, certain
and do, you know.
Content sells.
Yeah, they make money. It makes money, you know what I mean? But it's also like we could be building something different, you know, if we knew, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's not for nobody else to judge what they do, but for me to realize, okay, I could build something else with it.
Yeah,
you know,
man.
There's a song on there where it's called Blessings that I wrote on the eve of like one of the Juice WRLD Day. And man, I just realized in that moment, I was like, man, Tupac, he really spun that web of his eventual demise as one of my favorite artists of all time, and one of the illest revolutionary minds, most pure channels, you know.
For real.
A Gemini.
Another Gemini, yes.
And Pac and so many other young artists. Pac was like, man, vivid pictures of my enemies killing me in my sleep all the time, you know. It was always something like that. And seeing my enemies, will I live to see the moon and see the sun? God forgive me because it's wrong, but here I come, you know what I mean? You would bring that to yourself, you know? So something I'm really exploring on this album is like the acknowledgement of that, and what does it look like to cast a different spell. That's why they call it spelling, because the words we say are spells.
Crazy, yeah, real talk.
You know what I mean?
Real talk, man. Kicking that game, man. Talking about the song The Weeping Poets again, one of the lines I loved, you say life is short with a sense of humor.
Gary Coleman.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man.
You know, in this journey, you know what I'm saying, especially in the last 2 years, what's a situation where you do kind of like just think back and be like, damn, I used to trip on that, like, and just kind of laugh it off, like, just, you know, that universe sense of humor. Is there moments like that for you?
Yeah, for sure, man. I be thinking about how, like, I really used to fall into the trap of like niggas talking shit on the internet.
Because you feel like you got to react to everything.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I be really thinking about times when I would be in my car all through LA. This person just said something, so now I'm on Instagram like, ha ha, yeah, nigga, I beat your motherfucking ass. You know, and the next thing it's on this, it's over here, and I'm like, bro, I really used to ride around and do that? Like,
right?
Like you know what I mean? It doesn't even like make sense to me now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I guess growing up though, the way we grow up, it's like violence is our currency. So we feel that we have to be violent in order to assert our value.
That's right.
You know? But for me, with growth and even with training, like, I train extreme violence. You know what I mean? Like, I am really capable of it. And that honestly makes me want to do it way less too.
Really?
You know what I mean? For sure. I mean, that's the whole thing about martial arts is discipline.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I was moving mad undisciplined. You know what I'm saying? Like,
For real.
I be laughing at that because I'm like, that don't even make no sense, man. Ain't no way that nigga could do nothing with me. That, you know what I mean?
Right. And
straight like that as a
like,
man, but I'm just going back. Now I'm into it with a motherfucker I never even heard of before because he has something to say about me.
Right.
I'm not doing that.
And it's how we're taught though. Once challenged, you gotta respond, you know. But I think that's a great message to the people watching, man.
Well, sometimes the best response is no response at all, man.
That part, yeah.
And if you don't fan that fire, and if you don't give somebody what they are looking for, that might even be more painful to them. You know?
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
People will freak out when it's like if you be like, God bless you, when they hate on you. They'd be walking around like, God bless you, nigga. I mean, wait.
For real. Let's talk about Southside Story with Common.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite joints, man.
The paintings you're painting on this joint,
yeah,
man.
That's one of my favorite joints,
Take me there on the creative process for this track.
That song, man, I really wanted to kind of depict the complexity of Chicago and the South Side of Chicago.
You did that.
Like, I often like to say Chicago is a microcosm for every hood USA, because it's not so much different from what's happening in South Central LA. South Side is not so much different from South Side Jamaica, Queens, you know. disinvestment, lack of resources, and a mountain of creativity, you know, a wealth of heart and spirit, and also a lot of ripped apart families from mass incarceration and war on drugs, and, you know, spirituality and art all happening at once. So in that song, I'm like basically just telling the vision I have from my parents' porch, you know, behind the burglar bars in my mama's backyard. Yeah. And I'm watching the passing cars stop to trap hard. They used to like do this bird call and like sell drugs out the window. And on that corner, I remember a dude named Tony, he got killed right there. Then across the street on the other side is Nation of Islam Mosque, you know. Then there's also like black pea stone etched into the pavement. Wow. Right here. Then Farrakhan's house is like 2 blocks down that way. And Obama's house is over there. I was about to say,
where is, Obama.
And the projects is like right here, you know, and they're like ops of Chief Keef and them right over there. So it's like
so much going on.
It's complex. It's like there's so much happening at one time. And I want to show the humanity of it, you know. Yeah. It's like there's a lot of intersection. Chicago has this rich history of not only artistry, you know, as we know, and influential artistry, but also revolutionary action. Chairman Fred Hampton Jr. And Chairman Fred Hampton Sr., the Black Panther Party. You know, this guy was 21 years old when he did everything that was depicted in Judas and the Black Messiah. Damn. You know, he was 21 when they killed him. He was 21, and he mobilized the people in that way. Wow. But you got to think about the son of the Chairman Fred Hampton, imaginarily, because his real son is an amazing brother. But if you have this revolutionary brother that tries to take a positive approach, and he's assassinated in that way, laying there with the mother of his child at age 21, what's that guy's son approach gonna be? Right. Or his son's approach? Right. You know? Yeah. It might not be as positive. Absolutely. You know? And luckily it has been, but that is all depicted in that song, you know, just like that lineage. And, you know, people get tired of asking for food and knocking on the door. Eventually we're gonna kick the motherfucking door down and come take something, you know? No doubt. And Common, I wanted to get on the song because I ain't gonna lie, I was like channeling Common in the whole song. I was thinking about the way that Common like spun that web and told that story to me as a kid. Right. Just riding the bus, like listening to Common paint the picture of the city. Yes. And I was like, man, I gotta get him. You know?
Yeah. Beautiful story, man.
Actually, that song is being used in the finale episode of The Chi.
Dope.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's like coming out.
Major. That's what's up, man. Yeah. That's what's up. As a fan of hip hop, because that's what that song did for me. Like, it's just, as a fan of hip hop, I love songs like that.
Word.
Who are 3 storytellers in hip hop that you love? You know what I'm saying? Like, who comes to mind? Like, who's 3 amazing storytellers?
I mean, definitely Nas. You know, Nas, Common. Man, King Von was a really ill storyteller, man.
For real. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I feel like King Von was like one of the only people in that lane that was telling linear, like, coherent stories. You know what I mean? Like, and I get the sense he wrote a lot of them joints when he was locked up. You know, because I feel like part of the current temperature of hip hop is like, obviously, like a lot of drug use. So maybe things are not as focused.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it'd be ill though. You know, yeah. Verse be, but it's rare these days that somebody does a verse that's on a subject, a topic, like you know what I mean? And it's like, you know, but King Von, I think, was just, man, he was one of the illest storytellers in this age, man.
Yeah, long live King Von.
And then, you know, Nas for sure.
Of course.
You know what I mean? Like,
of course.
That's golden storytelling.
Yeah, no doubt.
What's that Nas joint at the end of, I Am, man. Oh, man, it's like a deep cut. I'll remember the name later.
Yeah.
So many of them.
There's so many greats, yeah. Man, bro, I just appreciate you dropping through tonight,
Hey,
man.
I appreciate you having me,
Always good to see you, baby.
Come on, man.
Thank you for always bringing the bars up here.
You know that, man.
Continuing to raise the bar with the albums, man. And I'm proud of you, man.
I appreciate
Sobriety
it, man.
for the last 2 years. You always been great to me, man. Thank you for being on my Hunger Flow project.
You already know, amazing project, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Next one, we on there too, man. Let's run it.
Jeez,
man.
I can't wait.
Come on, let's go.
I can't wait. And everything you do for prison reform.
Hey,
I know you're very, very active in your community, and man, you're inspirational to all of us, man.
My brother, man. You too, man.
Thank you, my boy.
Yes, sir.
Vic is here.
Hey.
The album Victor is out now.
You hear me?
So must cop, baby. It's one of the greatest albums of the year for sure, man.
Let's go.
I can't wait to. This is Grammy work right here, my brother.
Come on, man. Let's go, man.
Just like that. Vic Mensa, man. Chicago's in here live in Los Angeles. I'm Just Incredible on Power 106. Peace and love.